Elizabeth Levine was born in 1949 after World War II in Budapest, the capital of Hungary. In 1957, when she was 8, she had to move. She did because of the revolution in Budapest. Her family decided to go to Israel because they had relatives there. The relatives knew they wanted to move, so they asked their family to come live with them in Israel. Liz wanted to leave Hungary. She knew that it was bad there, and she was just a child. Also, she went to Israel with her cousin who was her age. Her name was Judith, and they're still super close. When Liz was moving, she brought a doll with her. But little did she know, her parents cut his head off and put valuable things that they weren't allowed to take with them in it. The staff on the train didn't inspect the doll because they thought she was just so cute sleeping with the doll. She hadn't heard a lot about Israel before she moved, but she did know that it was super hot and there were a lot of oranges. There were no oranges in Hungary. She was happy in Israel, but she had to move again in 1962 when she was 13. Liz loved in Israel, but it was way too hot for her mom. There was no air conditioning, and it was in the 90s and 100s and very humid almost every day. Her father also didn't want his kids to go into the army, because as a Holocaust survivor, he saw a lot of horrible things and didn't want that kind of life for his children. But decided to go, they chose Canada. They chose Canada because someone from Canada came to talk about the country, and her father liked what he heard. Also, her dad had an uncle in Canada who could sponsor him. Liz didn't want to leave. She was very happy in Israel as a child. She had to leave for school, her friends, her relatives, and her cousin Judith. She knew Canada could get really cold in the winter, the opposite of Israel. She also knew she had to learn a new language. Her family took a 2-week trip on boat to New York. Liz spent the entire 2 weeks very seasick, but finally made it to Ellis Island. Now from New York, she took a plane to Canada. Liz really misses Israel and her friends and family that still lived there. In her first grade, she remembers snow on the ground and a lot of food. When she started going to school, she made a friend. Her friend also immigrated from Israel, so they could speak Hebrew together. Besides that, school was hard, as Liz did not speak any English. However, math was easy because she said that Canada was behind in math. Liz had a nice teacher who would help her after school voluntarily so Liz could learn English. After graduating in 1973, Liz went on a date with a boy named Louis to a restaurant in Toronto called the Old Spaghetti Factory. 2 weeks later, Louis proposed. Later that year, they got married at a synagogue in Toronto. Louis was very handy and built land where he built their very own house. Liz and Louis had 4 kids. Their first child was Bill. She was born March 24th, 1977. The next child was a boy named Simon, who was born September 28th, 1978. Next, they had Rachel. She was born October 22nd, 1980. And finally, they had a girl named Sarah. She was born November 29th, 1985. Today, Louis has 7 grandchildren. 3 live in New York and 4 remain in Toronto. Jill had 2 girls, Sephora, born 2007, and Abby, born 2011. Simon had 2 boys, Jonah, born 2010, and Elliot, born 2014. Rachel had a girl and 2 boys, Sydney, born 2013, Noah, born 2014, Blake, born 2016. Today, Liz and Louis split their time between Miami and Toronto. The lives are filled with happiness.